everybody, and welcome to GD Sports. Welcome to a new season. This is AOR. My name is Evil, and we are here live in Fuji. Now, it's the first time I've really played this game for some time. First time commentated it on for a long time. So I'm excited to see what these drivers can do. A new league. Of course, it's had 5 seasons, but this is the first time we're going to be seeing it live on the AOR channel. I hope you're going to enjoy it as I am as well. We've got brand new features. I'm using the keyboard, so do apologise if you hear any clicking. But hopefully it's all good and everything. So we've got, so far, we've got Nova and Dennis in the VLX team. Currently up on the pole position. They're on the first 2 rows of the grid so far, ahead of the other VLX driver as well. So a lot of VLX drivers showing up today. We got Stewart Team Racing in the rather iconic Stewart livery with Fernando Alonso driving the Stewart Ford car now. So we're expecting to see quite a lot of drama between these drivers. We got Alonso one there, and we got a few people in the pit lane already. A few cars off the road there as they're all starting to get ready to go before the race. Then a few of the hype cars, everyone building up ready off the side of the circuit. Good to see 13 drivers so far in the session. So a nice, good grid of beautiful drivers ready today. We got the likes of Fogarty as well driving in the AOR hype team. So let's see what he can do as well. And don't forget as well, the AOR esports tournament will be live for the PS4. That will be live right now, so don't forget to tune into that as well. We'll stay here and watch some beautiful action as we are getting ready to go in a little bit of time. There's a few people jumping in the pit lane very quickly and not hitting the wall, luckily. This game, of course, they will have damage. They will have to contend with fuel. They'll have to contend with the tyres as well. So a lot to look out for. And they've got to be careful as well. They do not damage their tyres. They do not damage the cars. And you can see they all seem to be finishing their laps and going for a little bit of a spin around. As also, I'm expecting to see potential, probably a 2-stop strategy in these races. Of course, these Super Formula cars, remember, a 40-minute sprint, well, feature race, did I say, followed by a 20-minute sprint race with reverse grid. So expect that to be very exciting indeed. As you can see, all the drivers finishing off their install laps then, as we're getting ready to the grid, I believe, in a short amount of time, waiting for the last couple of drivers to finish their laps then. So we've got Dennis coming down then into the tricky little complex right now. That chicane's caught quite a few drivers out in the past. And these cars, of course, running 0 traction control. They're going to be very slippy as well. And this is a game that is known to be ferocious on its track ability. Sometimes, especially when you run wide, you lose all the traction, spin off into a wall. And we do not want to see any drivers making critically small mistakes on their formation. That, especially on their qualifying runs as well. See, low to the line. Let's see what can Dennis do. He's only 2 attempts down on Nova right now. So let's see, can he go up the field then? The Mercedes helmet there of Nico Rosberg as he comes to the line. Let's see, where can Dennis go? Can he get himself up on the first place? No, he does not. And so he stays a second for the time being. So decent effort, but a little bit down as well. So you can see them all just there down in turn 1 as they're all doing their pirouettes through 300 million degrees. And you can see that race will begin in a few moments' time. Repsol Honda, they're back again. They've left MotoGP. They've come to Super Formula, and let's see what they can do as well. A lot of brilliant liveries, I must say. They're all gorgeous in their own right. There's Fogarty driving the Hype Energy livery. He's currently P9, right, so good qualifying for him. Here's the other one then, the other Hype team coming to the line. Is he coming in the pit lane? He's going to come in the pit lane then. We have the McLaren, and that is a team that I will be looking at. Expecting to see a few drivers making small mistakes, of course, in the opening couple of laps as well. It's a new teams, a lot of new drivers, a lot of new faces as well. So it's going to take a lot of getting used to, especially for me as well. So let's see that. I can see that change it to racing softs, of course. Everyone will be starting on those soft tyres. They may be setting their lap times on the softest compound, but remember, softs only through this race. And expect them to see rotation strategies, different tyre compounds for all of the drivers. Because in terms of the season, we're currently, of course, in round 1. This is Fuji, the medium, the soft as well are in the feature race and the soft and the super soft for the sprint race. Next week we'll be heading to Barcelona as well, so that's going to be exciting stuff to see. Barcelona, of course, a circuit which in real life they're going to in F1, but we're in Super Formula. Kyoto combined will be the third round ahead of Monza before a break week, of course, before coming to Santa Cronic or Tropolis, and then Suzuka rounding off the season with one round yet to be determined. Race will be starting in just a few moments' time, so don't forget to grab yourself a drink, grab yourself some popcorn, and get ready to go, because this is Super Formula. My name is Evil Dragon, and we're going to be expecting some absolutely beautiful driving here. Of course, there's a few things we can talk about, of course. Who could be the drivers to look out for in this race? Well, you've got to put it past the top two drivers. They were, well, especially Nova, a lap time there of a 1:21.4, dominating qualifying here today ahead of Dennis right now. Steve there in third, 89 thousandths down, but then look at the gap to Chudi in fourth. Over 0.8 of a second, so it's going to be a big question for these drivers to see if they can get through. Ass Racer there, a further 0.2 down, just ahead of Dudley as well by 18 thousandths of a second. 0.2 back to Alonso, ahead of Rafe. And then we've got Gaz Rossi. Fogarty down to 11th now, 2 seconds off the pace. Cript in 12th and last position, the McLaren driver there, not setting a lap time. Of course, Fuji, a circuit that first hosted a motor race back in the early 50s. It's a rather old circuit, and we've seen a lot of drama, a lot of excitement, especially in Formula 1. Of course, you can't talk about Super Formula. Some spectacular races happened here, especially in 2016, if I remember. Pierre Gasly winning the championship, if I'm not mistaken, on that particular day in torrential conditions. Of course, torrential conditions have unfortunately brought to the old circuit's demise. Of course, the old circuit up until 1998 before it was taken off the taken off everything and redeveloped into what we see now. That, of course, had a spectacular accident in the rain. Luckily, no rain today because this game doesn't have it. So I suppose in the end that's always something good to see. But here we go then. We're getting ready to start here in Fuji. On the right will be Nova, on the left will be Steve, then Dennis and Cripp, Chewy and Acerator, Dudley, Alonso, Rafe, then comes the rest of the field then. But who's it going to be then down towards turn number 1? That is the ultimate question. Let's get ready to find out then as the lights are starting to come on here in Fuji. Those 5 lights are on, and when they will be off, we should be underway then, and they all do get off the line pretty cleanly then. Off the start. It's a good start from the front row, however. As they can see them all chucking it down. That's Dennis leading the field then. So come down to turn number 1. Any contact low. I think they've all got away with it scot-free today then. As they chuck it through turn number 1. Down the hill then. A few cars going off in the background there. I think that might have been one of the McLarens. I think that is there down the back. I think possibly Fogarty as well off that. But a beautiful start from Dennis and a good start from Steve as well. Nova rather left off the start as well. He's dropped back from the lead already. He's down to 4th under press levers up the inside. There goes Alonso. Good starts from him as well. So they're all starting to come through the field there. A few drivers running extremely wide in the first couple of corners. But crucially, Dennis leads this race then. As they come down to the hairpin for the first time, Dennis leads Steve. Alonso up to 3rd, ahead of Nova again. So Nova dropping back from this start. They're under press left from Ass in the Stewart. And a few cars there bumping up in the background. You can see their McLaren, who was off earlier on, all the way down the back already. So horrible start from him. But it's a beautiful start right now from Dennis, who leads this field comfortably there. By quite a margin, you can see that Fogarty down the back. He was the guy who spun then at turn number 1 in the Jordan. But still, VLX leads. VLX second. Alonso ahead of the VLX of Nova. That chasing going up to 3rd then. Let's see down the inside potentially if he can do it. It's a long run down towards the first corner. Let's see then pulls to the inside line. Let on the brakes. Let's see, can he do it? Pulls up the inside. Easy go then. Straight through. Let's see, get a comeback low. Let's see. Has the opportunity. Can't do it. Has to back off then. So Alonso backs off the opportunity so far. But crucially, Dennis and Steve already opening a 1 second gap from the cars behind. They look like they're going to start battling soon though, so let's see what they can do. Further down the field, by the way, you got a bit of a gap there down to 10th position, by the way, because you can see there of Caesar there and Fogarty all the way dropping down, and Dennis they're getting very close right now to Steve as they come down towards the hairpin then for the second lap. Are we going to see a dive potentially from Steve? He thinks he can get it. Now he gets alongside. Can he pull to the outside line? It'd be difficult around the outside there in the background. You can see an melee of cars going off there, and that is Ash up to third. So where's he come from? Beautiful start from the Stewart team as well, all the way up from, I think, 6th on the grid up to third. And you can tell already he's definitely making a move on right now with 37 minutes to go in this race. Now, Steve has got the slipstream. Let's see, can he do anything? They're down towards turn number 1. He's right up the gearbox of his fellow team, and now he pulls alongside. Let's see, can he do it? Side by side, the two teammates, they're down towards turn number 1. He'll have the inside line. He has to be careful, of course, to give each other space. They do not want contact. In the background there, you can see the other guys battling around. Up the inside goes Steve, and he passes Dennis into turn number 1. That is crucial at the beginning of this race. Remember, like, 36 minutes to go. In the background there, you can see Ass battling with Nova, and Ass keeps the position right now then, so he holds on to a beautiful third. Nova right now down to 4th, ahead of Ducati Rossi then in 5th place there, running a little bit wide there for him, but he keeps it on the island so far. But still, like, it's a good start for the VLX boys there. The 1st, 2nd and 3rd right now. In between them, Ass in the Stewart. Further down the field there, you can see Axel's mentioning about Ducati Rossi. He goes around the outside. He'll run himself out of road. Be careful not to hit barriers and gets reset there. So unfortunate for him then. A small mistake off the start of the race, and that there immediately is chucked him right the way down the middle of the field. Down though, so it's a VLX 1-2-3 ahead of us now. He made that mistake, of course, getting battled. It was a bit wide as well. So let's be careful that that CPT doesn't get past him soon enough as well, because he's doing a beautiful job as well coming through the field. They're all doing a very good job of keeping itself nice and clean. Meanwhile, here is Tudy then coming through the field. He's trying to get the slipstream as well. He is ahead of Dudley in the Repsol Honda team. And that's he'll be brave to do any dives into turn number 1. Then he thinks about it, but can't do anything yet. So he has to just back off the time being. RGB Gazmania, meanwhile, he's down in 9th position. He's dropping back a little bit there for Team RGB. He's ahead of Ducati Rossi now, who made that mistake just a few moments ago. Behind him, we have the McLaren then of Caesar. He's ahead of the other RGB boy, and then the hype team there of Fogarty right down the back. He's having a rather torrid time then. We'll have a quick check what happened to him in a few moments, of course. But so far, it's Steve leading from Dennis and Nova in 3rd. And Nova's starting to catch up to the back of Dennis right now, so let's see what he can do. Leads 3 drivers, starting to pull away a little bit now from Ash. But the field still remains incredibly close, especially all the way down to about 10th position then. They're all separated by rather little right now, and you can see that Ducati Rossi, 1:23.6, so good start from him. He's starting to come through the field a little bit off that mistake earlier on. Lap 4 of, I believe, around about 25, if my calculations are correct. Still look, VLX and VLX going for it. Then that is Nova passing Dennis up the inside towards turn number 1. Is Dennis going to fight it too hard? I think he's going to just back off a little bit. That do not want to risk running into each other. Honda v Lexus, remember, and the Honda just seems to have a little more pace right now, of course. And I was talking to a few of the drivers earlier, said the Honda definitely was a little bit weaker than the other car, but so far it proves to me that the Honda doing a pretty decent job right now, especially opening that gap, especially as the other Honda there leading. So Honda leads Honda, and then comes the Lexus as well of Dennis. So Honda leads 1-2 then so far in this race, and it's a good start from these two VLX drivers. They're starting to pull away a little bit now. 6/10 the gap already to Dennis, who's dropping back. Then Ass, and then a big gap down to Correct. So he's starting to drop back massively. Then we got the Repsol Team Honda car of Dudley. He's out of Chewy Alonso and Gaz as well. So Gaz at least starting to come through the field a little bit right now. So let's see what he can do if he can get a good exit right now. He has to be careful. Like, you can see the rear end struggling on Alonso's car. He has zero grip. You can see that again. Big twitch there on the rear end. And this will surely allow Gaz to come through and up the inside, down the straight. It's a long straight. It's almost a kilometre long. So they're going to have to be careful, getting rather close together, side by side, down the straight. In the background there are a few cars battling together. I think that might be Rafe there battling away. Let's see then, has Gaz got the inside then? He thinks about it there, but still can't do it. Alonso on the outside. Now he got the inside line, finally. Got the traction down. He's through now up in to P8. So he's finally got that move done. That there is a critical move for that driver, but gets a penalty. And that will definitely, will have to lift off. So straight comes back through. Will come Alonso, and that there is commentator curse on point. Now let's have a quick check if we can then at the start of this race then. So as we get ready for it, and let's have a little check, see who was the real good starters and what happened down the back with the likes of Fogarty as well. He had a mysterious spin, so we'll have a little look what happened to him in due course then. And let's see if it's getting ready to start on the grid right now. We're looking at here that, of course, this is the first time we'll be using these cameras, so do bear with me. It's a little bit of a hit and miss then. So it was Nova on pole then from Steve. Dennis in third. So it was Nova. He made that bad start then. Dennis was leading this race down towards turn number 1. I can see them there getting off that grid then. So Dennis made a beautiful start. Straight through the middle of all of the drivers. Now down towards turn number 1. Let's see what happened then down with Fogarty, etc. So let's see what happened to him and a few other drivers. They all had bunching up earlier on then. So it was contact with the McLaren and that's what happened. And then the McLaren rather gets a little bit too underneath then and spins him around. So unfortunate stuff there at the beginning of that race. So that'll explain what happened to Fogarty earlier on. And Dennis, of course, made that beautiful start. Meanwhile, back to the live feed then. And it's so far Steve pulling that gap a little bit right now from Nova. So Nova's starting to make a little bit of headway and dropping back ever so slightly into Dennis's clutch. And now, of course, leading that race on the opening couple of laps. Astaire in P4 right now doing a very good job there. He's starting close right up to Dennis right now, and we'll see what these two can do. The Stewart team, of course, being driven by Fernando Alonso's helmet. Of course, it's not Alonso, it's Ash. But either way, behind them there, we have CPT ahead of Tude. As also, all the drivers being rather cautious right now, not making too many silly mistakes. And that is the crucial thing right now. I'll say that Steve does get a massive tread on right there and makes that small mistake. But either way, the driver's doing an absolutely beautiful job right now in the opening round here of this Super Formula League. Next to VLX Nova right now, he's so far P2. Last lap wasn't too bad off actually, but you can just see Steve opening that gap now bit by bit. It's now up to 2 seconds right now. We're on lap 8 then from Nova, Dennis and Ash. Behind them there, CPT, Chewy and Dudley there in the pit lane. Meanwhile, I think that is Alonso in the pit lane, if I believe that is then. So Alonso coming in, the first scheduled stop then of the season. Up goes the fuel, up goes the Jackson, then off goes the tyres then. On goes the new one, down goes the Jax, and away he will go in a brief moment once they've, of course, filled the car up, and away he goes, and straight out the pit lane. Just like that, it's magic. Of course, the pit lane, very long there. Fogarty also in the pit lane as well then. So a few drivers making their first stops then. And that is team high, but so far VLX Steve leads VLX Nova, leads VLX Dennis. So the three VLX boys up front doing a good job, and they're ahead of Tude, by the way, who's down in P6 for all your VLX fans in the chat. And still doing a good job, by the way. You have to say, he's very impressive in the Stewart. He's just kept himself rather clean right now, not making unnecessary mistakes, and that is crucial right now. And you can see battling away there. That is CPT as well as VLX Tude as well. So they're all starting to close up together on each other. And let's see what they can do. It's a long straight, remember, so anything is possible. And let's see then. He'll have the inside line if he's got that speed to close it. But up the inside line is going to be difficult. He pulls it inside, slipstream down towards the corner then. And let's see, he'll be brave on the brakes. Can he do it on the inside line? Let's see. Has the inside line. Now he squeezes him a little bit wide then. On the exit. Loss of the rear end, however. And let's see. Can Ash try and come back through then? around the outside. He'd be brave to start to do it, but cannot do it and has to back off for the time being. So, CPT now up to P4, then ahead of Ash. He's now under pressure a little bit now from Tude, who's starting to chew over the back of his fellow companion there. He runs a little bit wide, actually, does Ash Races. Now, maybe the tyres are going off a little bit right now. You can see him there starting to struggle, especially the rear end on the corner. Now drops down another position. He's down to 6th there. He's up the inside, almost goes Tude there. I don't know if there was any contact there. It's very close stuff indeed. They could see, as talking about Ash, his tyres are completely shot. Now he's got to hope he just managed to keep the car on the island. Now he's dropping even more positions now. As now at the inside there goes Dudley in the Repsol Honda, but he's going to fight that back then. Comes the Ford-powered car and keeps position right now then. So, the Stewart gets up back in. I expect he will be in that pit lane though very soon indeed. Yes, he's in then. So, decides those tyres are a little bit too shot for me and he decided to come in. Meanwhile, here we've got a battle here between, that is Tude, coming all the way up to P4 right now. He's on the outside, up the inside then of CPT. Gets the job done on the exit and keeps the power down and up now into P4. So good positioning there for all these drivers. The VLX drivers doing an absolutely beautiful job right now. Up front, meanwhile, we've got Steve Gaming leading this race right now from Nova. So, it's still a VLX 1-2, it's a VLX 1, 2, 3 and 4, I suppose. Now, CPT now down into 5th position. And we talked about it earlier on, of course, that small mistake. And let's have a little look, actually, down at this battle right now with Ass and everyone. Then, so there you can see that contact nearly there. And behind them, you'll see Ass there losing the rear end. He had 0 grip at the point there. You can see him just struggling ferociously there at the rear end. And you can see just how bad those tyres really were. As you can see him here through this corner here, especially run out wide, get on the curb, spun the rear end up there. He had back fair enough to him on Dudley there. So Dudley couldn't really capitalise anything there. But of course, the tyres at that point were shot. I'm talking about that right now. He's currently down in P12. Well, 11, as I say. He's ahead of Fogarty, and in has come RGP and CPT. Then, so 2 drivers in the pit lane. Then first CPT, then we'll have Gazmania, which is coming down the end of the pit lane now, and in he comes. Just feel, remember, it's a long pit stop for all these drivers. The Blue Falcon car. Meanwhile, up front, Steve doing an awesome job right now. He leads his teammate comfortably there by over, it's about 7 attempts. I suppose it's starting to drop down bit by bit now between the 2 teammates. And I think, actually, it looks to me that Nova has the pace right now in this race to start catching his teammate. See, 4 attempts the gap. Now it'll start closing in due course. So expect that gap, and maybe we'll start seeing a battle between these 2 drivers. They've been very closely matched this race. Earlier on, of course, you saw Steve start to pull away. Now Nova's starting to cunt him back and pull him close again. Behind him there, we've got 1 car off, and that's Caesar then. So Caesar out of this race in the McLaren, so that's the car we just saw briefly on the side of our screen then. Don't know what happened to him. So he seems to have either spun or he's had an issue on his own there, but still. Leading this race, Steve, Nova. Then comes Dennis. Out of Tude then in P5. So top 5 start to pull away. In comes Dudley in the pit lane. Gap right now about 1 second there. It's evening out a little bit right now. Behind him there we've got CPT, Alonso and Ducati there battling away. And that there Ass has him the inside line there. Beautiful cutback and he gets a position done then. So excellent driving there from the Stewart. And he gets through. Now that's what's to be careful of, is in immediately comes Ducati Rossi then. Back up the inside, down towards turn number 1. Let's see, you'll have the inside line in the background there. You can see Gazmania having a look as well. Up the inside line goes Ducati. Runs a little bit wide though on the exit. And immediately coming back through, losing the rear and spearing into the wall. Has he hit the wall? Let's see. It's hard to see right now. You can see there Ducati rejoining the circuit. Lost the rear end there. And spinning the car through 360 degrees there. have a little look at that if we can. And there you can see him rejoining the circuit after the spin, lost the rear end. Getting back on the circuit, of course, and unfortunately for him, losing that position crucially at the time it mattered. That's put him down to P11 right now. Still though, Steve leads Nova, leads Dennis, leads Tuesday in 3rd and 4th. RGB Rave leading Cryptic in P6. Alonso now P7 right now, driving as well in the monster car. Still look, but battle going on here. Let's see, CPT's had a nice long run all race down this straight. He's been very impressive right now, especially with the grip he's had. And again, you can see getting that slipstream down towards turn number 1, straight past him, and nothing, absolutely nothing can RGB do about it there. He tries to battle back on the brakes, but there's nothing he can do there. In the background there, you can see Aston and Gaz battling away there, down towards turn number 1 there. Aston trying to get past Gaz right now. Stewart versus the RGB car. And he can't really do a lot about it right now. He has to just settle back and wait a little time right now. He has to be careful as well. He doesn't make any critical mistakes. Especially here, because right now he'll be battling for about 4th, 5th position in this race. Again, you can see RGB, another small penalty there. Luckily for him, the roll will not be affecting him too badly though, as he's holding the line right now. Last lap time, by the way, a 1:24.2 from the car, and you can see him there, rather getting impatient right now, giving a bit of a nudge there to Gaz. He wants to come through as soon as he can. Unfortunately there, you can just see him losing the rear end there bit by bit. He's getting a little bit impatient. Meanwhile, in comes Tuesday then in 4th position then. And that is the first of the top 4 drivers to come in, and we expect he'll probably drop down, possibly down to about 6th or 7th. Alonso right now battling away with Raven. There's a great battle going on there as Asnaud starting to drop back a little bit right now. So the Stewart car, of course, known to become the Jaguar car in the future, the Red Bull team in Formula 1. Well, it's been reincarnated right now in Super Formula. Behind him, meanwhile, is Dudley, and he's driving in the Repsol Honda team, and that livery, I must say, absolutely spectacular in all its glory. We don't often see a MotoGP livery on a Formula car, but, well, there we go. That's what it would look like, and I must say, it gives back a memory to the Orange team. Very impressive stuff. It's a beautiful livery. In terms of liveries, I must say, you got to say, the VLX team are very good with their livery as well. Very sleek design from all of them there. Definitely there. You can see Dennis running the old livery. Behind him there, we've got a Blue Falcon there of CPT. That livery as well. Very bold in its blue and yellow scheme as well. He's ahead of the MOG team. I think there, I'm talking about that car. He gets completely out of the way. There is Gaz there, almost in the Renault livery now. Got the inside line, out the outside line around this corner. It'd be brave there for the RGB car to try around the outside. Try to get the car back, however, as losing the rear and almost spearing into the wall there. How there wasn't contact is very hard to know. Up the inside, there goes Gaz and gets the position done straight away there. But that there was almost an almighty shot. And there you can see both the RGB boys running neck and neck there. In comes Rafe, in comes Nova, in comes Dennis as well. So Steve leads this race then. Here we can see now Alonso coming straight back then. Up the inside, down towards turn number 1. Can he get the position done? And up the inside, gives a bit of a squeeze, a bit of argy-bargy, loses the rear. And that there is the problem with these cars. Very twitchy cars indeed. In the background there you can see Dennis, Dudley and Assel battling together as well. So great scrapping right now. 19 minutes to go here in Fuji. They're running a little bit wider up in P3 right now. So he's being a little bit careful right now. He knows he's got time to find. He's right now behind Cryptic in P2, but still Steve leads this race. You believe he'll be coming in this lap. Yes, indeed. In he comes and on cue, actually. In he'll come, get new tyres and get new fuel on, and he'll go a little bit further into this race. What's you put in the chat while I ask, was pit stops needed? Or you're about to go to the end? Well, you can see already by the point there, they have definitely got to pit. And pitting is very crucial right now, especially for these drivers. 9 leaders The fuel tanks aren't very big in these Super Formula cars. I believe they're on times 2 or 3 fuel depletion. And there you can see that RGB is running low on his deployment mode there. You can see there behind them there, Dennis, they're 3 wide down towards turn of what? Up the inside there. So on the outside there is Gaz, I think that is that. Battling the long way around there. Dennis, should I say. Beautiful stuff. Trying as much as he can there. Loses the rear end a little bit right now, so he's being careful. Now gets the position done there on us. That's a great stop between those 3 drivers. And there you can see Dudley losing the rear there as well. So he looks like me, like his tyres are gone. Starting to drop back there. You can see them all struggling actually. I think it was that ass going off there. I think it was ass going off, you know. He's dropped back down even more. So Dennis, Ass, and Dudley all struggling in this race right now for the battle for P5, 6, and 7. Tuesday in P8, Alonso P9. Ahead of Ray Fogarty as well there in P11 and 12. Still look, CPT leads this race. You expect him to be in due course. Those fuel and tyres, remember, going to be running very low indeed. Novalo leading from Steve Gaming, and then we got Gaz, Dennis, Dudley, and Ass. Now I want to have a quick check actually what happened a few moments ago then. This great scrap we saw there between these 3 drivers. You can see that Ass there getting through. Now what happens here? That is the question then. On board we will go then with Ass. So you can see that running out wide. There goes Dudley. Now let's see, does he get on the curb on the outside and spin the rear then? I think he does. Yeah, he does get on that curve, and that's why he dropped down those few seconds then. So that'll explain the issue he had just a few moments ago where he dropped back very suddenly. I mean, what? He's still currently in P7, so he's a good job. And meanwhile, though, there goes Nova into the lead of this race then. So it looks to me that CPT's tyres are gone, because all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the 2 drivers there of CPT Nova and Steve lead this race all of a sudden. Because look how fast suddenly CPT's tyres are gone. They're going to be gone. They look like they're shot. Look at the time he's dropping. He's got no grip right now. Incredible stuff. We're on lap 17. 15 minutes to go then in this murder race. Gaz there in P4. Dennis in P5. Dudley in P6. So what has happened there to CPT? Is his tyres gone? I think so. But VLX proving today they are at the top of their game, leading a 1-2 here in Fuji, overtaking a struggling CPT there. Let's have a quick check then what happened to him. And I think that he's already been overtaken at this point by the time we've cut to him there. So already struggling on the tyres then. So to me it looks like they were shot a long way down. Let's have a look and see if we can get an extended version then and see exactly what happened then. So does he get on the curb? I think, yeah, he gets on the curb. My goodness, that big tank slap of that. And that'll explain why I almost lost the red, to be honest, right in front of those drivers. So, incredibly caught, so I must say that. So, that there was very fortunate he didn't lose the rear end then, especially in front of Nova as well. And let's have a little look as well at these 2 drivers. Nova and Steve, they're currently leading 1-2. They're coming to lap, I think, there. I think that must be Fogarty down there in last position right now then in P12 or 13. I think there it is, Fogarty down the back. So he's starting to struggling to be given the blue flags, of course, telling him to get out of the way. I'm going for first, says Steve as he comes up probably to lap Fogarty, and Fogarty will know these guys are coming. He's a very experienced driver and won't put up too much of a fight. I think he might be coming in the pit then actually. Nope, doesn't do it then, so we'll give everyone a nice tow down towards turn number 1 then. And let's see then, so it's Nova leading Steve right now. They're both pulled to the outside line. As out of the way he comes, Fogarty. Fair play to him, that doesn't hold them up at all then. But still leading 1-2 here today then. And that there is all they wanted to do then. Nova from England then. Last lap of 123.9, so definitely he got the pace on right now compared to his teammate right now, 123.1. They're very close together, only 3 tenths separating them. The last lap separated as well by very little. So these 2 drivers, I feel, are going to go at it for the next 13 and a bit minutes right now until the end of this race. Incredible stuff there. As well, don't forget, by the way, we'll have a sprint race after this, so your action today is not over. We'll have a sprint race in reverse, grid formation, so we'll have Fogarty leading. Talk about Fogarty, got a little bit in the way there of RGB Gazmania. So Gaz there, rather think he's got that off of a certain wrestling company there, Gazmania. Chubey and Dennis, they're currently running P4 and 5. Expect those drivers will start to come up the field in due course, of course, because Gaz yet to stop. Dudley as well, he's paired as well as everyone behind, so they're all starting to settle into their phase right now, but look at the lead these two drivers have got. And they're still battling together, remember. Let's see that up the inside, I think has Steve got the inside line all of a sudden, then down toward turn number 1. Up the inside comes the two teammates, and they're going to go wheel to wheel. Up the inside goes Steve. Gets Nova, then down to turn number 1 then. Nova rather left the door open there. It did not want to fight his teammate too hardly there, and straight through came Steve then. So capitalizing on a small mistake and big consequences as well. Could have covered him there, but fair play. Didn't want to do it and gave each other a perfect amount of race. Things roaming each other then. I've got to say, these two drivers, they're leading by such a margin right now from Dennis that they can afford to battle, but they do not want to afford to take each other off. Rule 1 of racing, don't crash. Rule 2, definitely don't crash into your teammate. Rule 3, don't throw away a lead when you're 7 seconds up the road and almost 10 seconds ahead of everyone else, because the top 4 drivers to combined are way ahead of Dudley in the Repsol Honda, ahead of us as well as in the Stewart car. So those two drivers pulling away ever so much that Nova are starting to struggle a little bit, and let's have a little check then if we can. On that overtake, just a few moments ago, instead of running side by side down turn number 1, it was a good dive up the inside. Fair play to Nova. Gave him the room. Could have squeezed him a little bit more though, but Steve rather just had the space and had the opportunity there to come straight through. Nothing he could have really done there. So Steve there, a beautiful dive up the inside, and really capitalised on that. Let's have a look on board with him then, and let's see what his overtake then was then. So he came from a long way back, pulled to the left. Nothing could Steve do then as he came up the inside. Nova gave him the room. You could see him squeeze him out wide. And they could just see. Gave him the room on the outside just to say, are you just going to come through? I'll let you have the space. But he couldn't do it. So to me it shows that Nova's tie is starting to drop off a little bit right now. He's now down to 1.5 seconds off the lead. So Steve has that position right now, has the pace to pull away from Nova. Dennis in 3rd, Chude in 4th, out of CPT, Gazmania. Alonso there battling away with Dudley, Rafe and Ass, and oh dear, now what has happened there? Now that there is something I've not seen before. Now, I'm afraid there the FIA might have to look at this, I'm afraid. One wheel on my wagon. They forgot to put the tyres on. Well, I don't know how that's happened there. That is rather spectacular. You can see the future of Super Formula. 0. One wheel on my wagon, he says. I think you have to come in, but I think that might be a bit of a graphical glitch. That there is spectacular. Meanwhile, though, Nova doing a beautiful job right now, trying to keep up there with Steve, but these two drivers pulling away ever so more now. 11 seconds ahead there, 7 seconds ahead of Chude as well. CPT, the race starting to come into a rather quiet phase there. Although I say that, Dudley losing the rear end a little bit there. And they are battling away down for 7th and 8th, and you can see Asta. I don't know what's happened to him, to be honest. I think that might be to the replays that's happened, but yeah, no, I don't think he'll have too much tyre wear. He's only got 1 tyre on the car, but nonetheless, doing a good job. Meanwhile, there is, oh, that's a bit interesting. Apologies there as I brought up the chat temporarily. It's very good stuff. Never mind, I've never seen that in my entire commentary career. I've never seen that before. That further down the field gallery now, I believe down to just 10 runners in this race. So I think Fogarty now down to 12 actually. So a few of them dropping out now in this race. You can see Fogarty and Ducati Rossi there, they are down the back, but it's Steve stealing from Nova right now. Yeah, of course, a few people in the chat saying that is a glitch. Of course, graphical glitches sometimes crop up, but it's always spectacular to see and does bring to point. Maybe they forgot to put the tyres on. Let's just roll with it right now. They forgot to put the tyres on right now. Bit of a quiet moment in this race right now. Not a lot of action going on, apart from down there, Alonso and RGB and Rafe together, all together with Ash. These three drivers, very close stuff between each other. Nice long run right now from us. Let's see, he'll pull to the inside line. We'll see will RGB Rave pull to the inside line. No, doesn't do it. So we're going to see a repeat as you saw earlier on then. Down the inside into turn number 1. Squeeze him out wide and get straight through then. So good stuff there and nothing could RGB Rave do about it. It looks like his tyre's starting to go already then. Starting to drop back a little bit right now. Alonso now being the next target for these drivers to come through. And right now, doing a beautiful job. That for P9, 10, 11. Fogarty down in 12th. 7 minutes to go in this race before we get to the sprint race. And I'll have a nice long drink afterwards, I must say. Great to commentate on GT Sport. It's the first time I've actually commentated here on normally Project Cars, but today commentating on my own, of course, is due to only being to have one com in the group, of course. Dennis right now, you can see he's not used too much there of his ERS and overtake mode right now. The full tank, of course, one, he hasn't got a light. That means they've got none of it. As you can see there, he's got very little right now for Steve, and Nova's got quite a lot of it as well. So the drivers are using their ERS and manual deployment. Very, very cool. So they don't want to run out of it, of course, because doing that will be very critical for all the drivers. You can see Gaz has got no ERS right now, or at least no overtake mode, I believe it is. Dudley led down as in comes Alonso, meanwhile, for P9, as we're currently looking at P1. And there you can see Alonso in that pit lane then. Get some new tyres on, chuck them up on the jacks, those hydraulics jacks, of course, down they come. And away he'll come pretty quickly then. It's a shame we don't see the full pit lane, of course, on this game. It's only rather this smaller one where they come straight back on circuit very quickly, that. A little bit of unfortunate stuff. Maybe they might have to amend that in future games. Meanwhile, Nova still dropping back a little bit right now. The gap, to be fair, it's about 1 second right now. 1.2 between these two teams from lap 25. We believe we're going to run about lap 31 then. As there you can see Nova losing that rear end there a little bit. Dennis still doing a good job in P3. Head of Tuesday in P4. They are coming up on Fogarty, I think that is. He's just coming into the pit there right now then for P12. So he's having a rather quiet race of it right now. He's kept himself out of trouble. He's been dropping back a little bit by a little bit. And here he comes down. I must say, very Jordan-esque livery. And I have to love it. Now, it very much is just the... yeah, it's perfect. It's 2001 Jordans with some high penalty. It's beautiful nonetheless. I have to say, all these drivers are made beautiful liveries as well. Because you got, despite them, some of them being very basic liveries, they all have a very distinct look, and they give the driver that distinct approach of what they like. The Repsol Honda livery proves to me very much that this man here, Dudley, likes MotoGP, of course, because that is the Honda team in MotoGP. Marc Marquez won the last race, I believe, then. Just earlier, just last week, remember, back to the top of the standings in MotoGP there, and you can see Dudley battling away there with Ash as well, with one wheel on his wagon. Must say, in terms of drag, that'll be definitely a little bit, be a lot less drag for the car. Fortunately, I don't know how he's turning, to be honest. Rather magic right now how he's turning, because he's got no wheels to turn, unless the rear wheel can turn everything. I don't think so. Pretty the thing it would do is turn left because of the power it can go on, but nonetheless, it works quite well. Meanwhile, though, he's starting to catch up right now. 1.2 seconds the gap between these two drivers. Top two, by the way, they're starting to spread out a little bit more right now. Down the back, and actually you can see actually in comes Dudley, and here you can see Steve there down towards turn 1 there with Nova. and those guys still better go. But I actually think he's coming the pit in there to be rather interesting. I think, you know, Dudley tried to dummy it then up the pit lane then and try and force us to come in the pit lane. Very audacious stuff and very risky, I must say, there from Dudley, because that can sometimes throw yourself in a spot of trouble, especially if he's close enough to try out the inside. But luckily for him, he got away with it today. Top 2 now, 4 attempts, 7 attempts, 8 attempts to gap right now then. Steve leads this race now comfortably by, just under a second right now. Last lap time, 1:24.2 last time around. Let's have a look at it this time around then. So 1:22 as 24th compared to a 1:24.6. So the gap is starting to drop down between these two drivers. So it is closing as you're coming into this last 3 odd laps of this race. I hope you've been enjoying it like I have as well. It's been a rather quiet race for some of these drivers, quite drama for the rest of the field though. They're very spread out. You can see though, good battle brewing potentially between Tuesday and CPT. So the VLX 1234 is under pressure right now. So let's see what they can do. Super soft tyres versus, of course, the super soft tyres. I believe it's actually the mediums, I think, if I'm not mistaken, actually. Medium and soft, I think, the only tyres allowed right now. But Tuesday holding off a decent good job right now is CPT trying to find any opportunity he can to come through. The number 7 losing the rear end there a little bit. He must be careful as he loses that rear end. Very easy to do. These tyres are going to be squealing, and let's see. He'll have a nice run there to the outside then. Down towards the hairpin. Let's see. Tries to squeeze him out there. Does do so. Runs a little wide. Now he's through then. Up then into P4. Tuesday's tyres starting to go then in this last portion of the race, and loses that position critically when it mattered. Let's have a little look, lad, and see what has happened. So you can see you can force him to go defensive then, and you'll get the cut back down into the hairpin. We get a better view of it here. Hairpin then straight through, and nothing could Tuesday do. His tyres by that point already starting to drop off the face of the earth. You can see him there dropping now 5 tenths off the leaders, but at least off the car ahead of him there. But he's got that nice long toe down towards turn 1 then, so he can come back if he can then. Let's see, is he going to try and dive up the inside? Down the inside comes Tuesday. Has he got the car stop? Yes, he has got the car stop. How has he done that? But can he get the exit speed though? No, he cannot then. So back comes through Cryptic there. Good battling between these two drivers, but Tuesday that tried to come through, couldn't do it. I believe we are maybe on the final lap then. We got one car off there. I think that might be Ducati. It is Ducati that. Now, I think he might get himself in a bit of trouble with that one there. Doing some pirouettes through the last corners. These two, they'll go to have one more lap of it then. So he'll be getting the final lap. They're 4 seconds too early. They could have backed off, but they would be too risky for them. So they're going to carry on the final lap of this race then. Lap 29. Steve leads Nova then, leads Dennis, who I think Dennis thinks he's finished. Look, he's weaving everywhere. I think, does Dennis think the race is over? Because it's not. Oh, it is actually. So Dennis has crossed the line then. So I don't know if that means... I don't know what happened there, but either way, these two up front on their last lap. So I think there might be a little bit of a glitch there, or I've missed something. But there's two leaders still up front, still opening that gap then. They'll easily get a couple of gap. No way they could have got overtaken by anyone then. So Dennis, Cryptic, then Gaz, Tuesday, Dudley just been ahead of Ass. Then became Rafe. Alonso, Fogarty and Ducati there down the back. We're waiting for the leaders right now just to come through the last couple of corners to finish the race. For them, they managed to get one more lap out of it. Steve then through the last corner. He may win the first race, but he'll start last in the feature in the sprint race. So Steve then comes to the line and he'll take the first victory then in the AOR GT Sports Series, then the first victory of this season, And he's going to be a very happy man with that one. Victory then. But can he do it in the next race as well? He lifts that very small, the very important trophy for him. VLX a 1, 2 and 3 then. But that's the question though. Did the session finish a little bit earlier? Oh my dear lord, what is happening there on the telemetry as everyone chucks himself back in the pit lane? And of course you'll be getting ready to go in just a few moments for the second race right now as well. So expect that, of course, reverse grid. We'll have, I believe, about a 5 or 6 minute break before we get ready to go for the second one. That gives me an excuse, by the way, to make myself a drink because I've drunk it all. So I will be back in a few moments' time, as we will now have a small break. And you join us back live right now then here in Fuji. We're just getting ready to go in a few moments' time. We're having a little bit of a break now for the drivers, as they are going to get ready soon to start the sprint race. They'll be talking in the chat. Of course, a lot of drivers are going to be wondering right now how the second race is going to go. Well, there's a little bit of a wait right now. Remember, it's not too unusual for these drivers to have this small minor rates, especially for all the drivers. A few of them might come out on circuit then potentially, but I do not think so. Don't forget, don't as well like and subscribe, hit the notification bar in the chat. Don't forget to follow Apex on Racing on Twitter as well, especially if you want to keep up to date with all of the action going on around the world of Super Formula. But still, right now, it is Tuesday, and we're all in the pit lane. A few of them coming out right now, so good to see a few drivers starting to give me at least something to talk about right now. What I can say, though, that was a crazy first race, and it is Ash, the first driver to come down the pit lane then, and he'll be the first driver on the circuit, driving the Stewart Ford. And he's been one of those drivers, they've decided to put all the tyres on finally then, so good to see all the tyres back on, and all they will be going straight away again onto the circuit for what will be the first couple of laps, and the first real times we'll see what these guys can do in the sprint race format. Reverse grid, remember, so it'll be very quick, very earlier on, and they'll definitely drop off. Remember, one stop we will use. Be a one-stop strategy for all these drivers, probably pitting around probably about 10 minutes into the race, I imagine, if they can do it. Some might try and stretch it to the end if they can. It'd be very audacious if they do, but either way, we'll find out in due course. There you can see Ash right now. He is in the lead of the practice right now. He's got only one other driver with him on circuit. That there is Ducati right now. So Ducati and Ash giving us all nice views there, as into the wall there and spinning around goes Ducati, and I don't think that there was exactly what he wanted to do there. Oh dear, what's happened there? As there you go, setting to rolling start, reverse grid, and there you can see super soft tyres, and you can see new overtaking system time out place setting to 0.5. So that sounds very technical and fun. And now immediately a few drivers coming back on the circuit. Ducati's going to give us some more action as well. few drivers there in the chat, by the way, especially struggling with tracks and struggling with tyres. There's one thing actually that really helps me as a commentator. I can see exactly what the drivers are doing and see what they are thinking, especially if they are struggling in terms of grip, etc. We will see everything. Now you can see Alonso one there. He seems to be struggling, I think, with lack of grip right now. But it's so far there. Ras right now, he's got a lot of pace. He's got a lot of time on his hands as well. He wants to be careful not to make any mistakes still in this second sprint race, because the sprint races, yes, it might not be as big as the feature race, but it's kind of still matters. If you can qualify yourself well in the feature race as well, and you start further down in the sprint race, you'll be good in the sprint race because you'll be starting higher up. People say this will be a 5-minute warning there before we're getting ready to go for the feature race. And I must say, especially for the VLX drivers of Dennis Nova, they've got to be concerned, especially starting so far down the back. They're going to have to be making a lot of positions very early on in this race. And you've got to wonder, especially for Ras right now, he started down in the middle of the pack. He had a very good amount of pace earlier on. Can he still come back through to win as well? Potentially, he was doing a good job until he had that mistake, of course, and he had a few issues, especially with grip. A few people there complaining about having low traction, of course. Traction is a big issue for these drivers, as Ducati there is, well, he's rather going up the grass right now towards the first corner. Don't have that cameraman. That'll be 5k there, Rossi. If you kill the cameraman, that's not good. Don't hit the cameraman. Cameramen do a good job right now, as he rather gives us a show and tell of how not to drive down the straight. And a lot of excitement, a lot of drama from the first race. And I've got to say, that tartan livery always is spectacular. It has a very distinct look. I've got to wonder, where can he be in the race? You've got to also wonder as well, as a few drivers coming up. I think that might be Dennis and Tude together. I think, yes, it is those two together. Dennis could be in a very prime opportunity right now to score some good points as well. He was very good. I think they're all starting to go into their natural habitat right now with the turn 3 area, as they all do their pirouettes for 3 million degrees. Remember, the sprint race rules all apply. You've got to be careful that you don't throw anything away. Today saying, Dennis, I'm sorry. So those two having some fun. There you can see, I think they've completely broke the engine actually. And thank you Maverick, thank you my chief as well in the chat there. I must say, it's difficult commentating on GT Sport on your own. I'm so used to commentating on Elder, Ducati in the wall, whereas I think they're all kind of having a bit of a nice time there to have a bit of relax right now. Enjoy. I don't think they realise they can see us watching them with praying eyes. I think they might be used to doing this there, but either way, good stuff for all the drivers. They're pushing on very hard. Like I said, I'm used to commentating with a co-com right now, so I might have to try and sure that out for next week as well. Definitely gives my voice a little bit of a break. And you can see that Alonso helmet as well for us. It's a beautiful, it's the original Mark 7 livery, so that's dated I believe around 2003. Do quote me if I'm wrong there. So good helmets there for all these drivers. I believe Dudley there running a very normal looking helmet there, the number 12. Let's have a look at helmet, shall we then? Another Alonso helmet. So a lot of Alonso fans right now in this server. Chudi, what's he driving? He's driving the Vortex. livery or the VLX livery helmet. And good to see Dylan in the chat, of course. Current Project Cars drivers. Good to see a few of you familiar faces in the chat. And if you get as well, get in contact with the chat, by the way. Always keep an eye on it as well. There is 2 day runs a little bit wide, losing the rear end there ever so slightly. So you got to wonder, not to push it too hard. Wolf saying 50 gigabytes. Yes, 50 gigabytes and still can't update the game. Well, this game is very big, I must say, and I suppose it has to fit in a lot of stuff, but it does also copy the game about 5 million times. And I had to reinstall it the other day, so I'm very fortunate I managed to get here, especially when I've had no internet the last couple of days. So it finished installing earlier, the update. As there you can see the park it in the first sector rule then, so we'll expect to see a few drivers chuck it down to the first sector. There is Dudley and everyone there. You can see them all having a nice pirouette down towards turn 1. Look at them all, they're all going to be nice and gentle together. Fogarty and everyone. So we're getting ready then for the sprint race. Reversed route, meaning Fogarty will be on pole. You can see them, they're all going to park themselves down. Then a few people will start doing our famous pirouettes. And you can see Dennis, he's just sitting there looking the wrong way, looking backwards at the traffic. Let's see who's the next driver going to arrive then. That is the question of the hour. See, there's Nova just in 7th position right now. He'll be starting right down the back. And he should be all on the circuit right now. All of the 11 odd drivers should be starting to get on the circuit in a few moments time. Currently got 10 drivers, so we should be expecting another 2 then. I believe Fogarty's on the circuit, so I think we're expecting 1, maybe 2 others. You can see that they're all parking themselves down to turn 1. This is the quiet spot, the quiet bit before the storm then, where we'll be seeing drama, we'll be seeing excitement. Reverse grid, meaning Fogarty then, who's currently P3 right now in the Jordan. The Hype Energy Jordan team will be starting himself on pole position then today. A few drivers might get themselves in trouble, of course, in the race for doing some pirouettes through 3 million degrees. None the way, problems averted for some of the drivers. Are we going to see problems down towards turn number 1? We've seen it before and we'll see it again then. Fuji as the circuit. Very, very hard. There's a few drivers there flying through the camera screen at a ferocious rate of knots. Meanwhile, I have to say, a lot of drivers, they've been keeping each other rather clean, of course. Not many accidents as well, apart from, of course, Fogarty having incident on the opening lap last time out, of course. They've kept each other relatively clean. And that is the crucial thing. Not to make mistakes. They know they've got a championship ahead of them, a long championship as well. 10 rounds. Of course, taking us from Fuji to Suzuka. Might not be that much of a journey, of course, but in that journey we travel the continent. We travel hundreds of miles around the world. To Barcelona, to Santa Chronic, to Ultropolis, all the way to Suzuka, of course. Next week we will be at Barcelona before coming to Kyoto in Japan, before heading back to Italy in Monza, before our break week on the 6th of June. The season, of course, finishes in the 4th of July. In just over, well, sorry, say just under 2 months' time. Will we see a champion crowned before then, or will we see it crowned in that race? Well, you have to say right now, they're all getting ready to go then. You can see them readying up. They're all saying yes in the chat. They're ready to go, and we're ready to go with them. And this is now the quiet bit then before the sprint race, where we will be expecting to see absolute melee drama throughout the race. But first we've got to forte a rolling start. All the drivers then. And there you can see then Ducati Rossi starts on pole then from Fogarty then. So Fogarty down in P2. So Rossi leads Fogarty and Alonso then. That'll be the roll then here around the grid. And now we're rolling off the grid then. Here for the sprint race. Here for what is going to be a lot of drama, a lot of excitement for all of these drivers. Are we going to have problems down towards turn number 1? Are we going to see it nice and clean? Well, we're underway then here in Fuji then for the sprint race. And immediately you can see them all rattling one by one then down towards turn number 1. Are we going to see any moves then immediately? Fogarty already thinking up the inside into turn 1 then, as they all start to spiral their way through turn 1 and 2. Oh my goodness me, one car flying into the wall there. Was that Ducati off? I think that might have been someone off there into the wall there. I don't know who that was. I think that might have been Dudley then, off into the wall. What has happened there? And he's out of the session already, so a huge accident there down towards turn 1. What on earth? There was massive problems there. Might have been a brake failure. We'll have to look at it in a few moments' time. Fogarty in P2 right now. Alonso up in P3 already challenging Fogarty. Now he comes through up the inside. Down towards the hairpin. He wants to make sure this is nice and clean. Doesn't want any drama here, and he gets through nice and easy. So, now up to P2 then there. Fogarty down to P3. Starting to struggle now already then at the beginning of this race. As there, a beautiful start already up to P4. But look at Dennis already to P6. So there you can see the drivers making a few places there. In the background you can see Chute, Steve and Nova not making up any positions off the start. So there's problems for them, but problems as well there. For Ducati there, he's now lost the lead. And now Alonso in it. So Alonso now into the lead then. That is crucial then. For him in the championship then. Fogarty battling away there with Rafe then down the straight. As they all run themselves 2 by 2. They're asked now up to P3 already. So again, a beautiful start for him. So they're already starting to spread out then at the beginning of this race. But Ducati and Alonso battling away. And Ducati and Alonso switch positions again then, the two teammates. The two Spanish drivers, Rossi and Alonso. Both, of course, very synonymous names in motorsport, Alonso and Rossi. And they're battling together again then, down towards the hairpin then, lap 2. Want to be careful and give each other enough space now. You don't want to hit each other, boys. And now around the outside, has Alonso kept the position? Yes, he has. Behind them there, Ash starting to close up on these three then. Well, these two as well. So the gap up front closing down all the time. And there you can see them battling away there. Ducati and Ash starting as well. As Ash tries to find the position and try and find the gap. As soon as he can, he'll pounce on it and come through. Fogarty now down into P5. He was up in P2 a few moments ago. Starting to struggle right now, but there you can see Ash now up to P2 then. So he's got the position, he's got through, and now he comes down the straight then, side by side between him and Ducati Rossi then. He wants to be careful not to crash into it here, the other driver. The inside line for turn number 1 is an opportunity to overtake an opportunity. Can't do it. Has to try around the outside, but he has to try and get the car back if he can. Bit of contact there, and there's always problems there. Let's see that outside line. It's going to be easy to go around the outside into these corners, but they can see it runs out wide, and they might try around the outside, you know, still. Might have been proven wrong. Let's see, it'll be difficult stuff to do it. And he can't do it straight away, then so has to sit back right now. And again, you can see Ash trying his best. Now he has the exit, now he has the opportunity to come through, but can't do it then. I think up front, Alonso on the grass a little bit there then. And let's see Ash then down towards the hairpin. Outside line. Let's see, can he do anything about it then? The Stewarts can't do a lot about it right now. He's stuck there behind the Ducati Rossi there. Infuriating all the time. And now he again tries on the outside line. He's tried this once, he tries it again, still can't do it. Runs himself out of road right now. Ducati doing his teammate all the favours right now. RGB Wraith right now behind them as well as they all come down the straight. Remember, they all should have to come in once, and immediately there, I think Ducati there made a mistake. Yes, he's now down, now side by side, down towards turn of one. Then we're going to have three abreast then already, as here comes RGB Wraith then, and they're going to go three abreast, darling, then down the straight. Almost problems there, up the inside there goes Wave, in the background there, three abreast, down into turn number one, through they go, still three wide. Now contact, oh, they said spinning into the wall there, Ducati, and there is big problems there. Into the middle of the pack, luckily not collected though. And that was the last thing he wanted, and that's happened now. He was gone from second a few moments ago to plumb dead last in the space of a few hundred meters. So it's gone from bad to worse for him, but exaltation for his teammate right now. He leads with 15 minutes to go. Wraith and Ass right now in P2 and 3. Dennis in P4. Steve and CPT in P6 right now. Up the inside there comes RGB Gaz right now on Fogarty is dropping down the field more and more. Nova and Tudor there as well, battling away. Let's have a quick check, by the way, at the start of this race, if we can. Because we saw some almighty accidents down the back. Let's see if we can find what happened then. So it was one of the, I think it was Dudley, had a brake failure there. We can't unfortunately see Dudley on our timing there, so we'll have to view it from here. But let's have a quick check right now. What happened there with Dudley? Remember, they should be rolling in a few moments' time on this replay, because we saw a spectacular accident involving Dudley. He had some sort of issue then. Of course, because he's disconnected and left the server, we cannot see exactly what happened to him then. Nonetheless, though, let's have a see and what happened to him then. So, they all got a good run down towards turn number one. But it was Dudley. He had him. It looked like he didn't have any brakes in. So let's look in the rear view mirror then of Aston. We'll get a very good perspective of what happened then. And he just didn't brake. Now, I don't know what happened there, if he had an issue or something happened there, but, into the wall, I have to say, a good start from Aston nonetheless, but, very dramatic stuff there. Meanwhile, Aston is now in P3 in this race. 13 minutes to go. But Alonso leads. And that is cruise for him. He's got a 2-second gap from RGB Wraith right now. He's doing a good job then. Ast in P3. And it was a disconnection then. So, that is what happened there. It looked like you had a brake failure, but, or some issue, but a disconnection, and that'll explain it. Alrighty then, here comes Aston. He has the opportunity to try and come through immediately. Going defensive then, goes RGB, so I think he's brave enough there. In the background there, you can see VLX guys. Where have they come from? Already up to P4 and 5, my goodness. What the pace of these guys got all of a sudden. And now they're battling together again then. We've seen these guys battling together the last couple of the races. Are they going to go for another 1-2 hit today, I wonder? VLX trying to take a 1-2 again then. And 12 minutes to go. Can't put it past them. They've driven the best they can. Still though, everyone running nice and smooth then. I think Dennis thinking of the opportunity up the inside. Can't do it. Still though, Alonso leads. Wraith second, As third. That's your top three right now, and already looks like Alonso starting to drop back as his pace starts to drop, and those tyres going as well. And that there brings more questions to the fold. What is everyone else going to do? Is Ash going to try and come in the pit then? We're going to see any dives? I don't think so. But look behind. VLX drivers starting to close. And that there will be huge drama and huge implications for these top three. Because I think they know about as well as we do, as there is not the opportunity if they get too close. Meanwhile, here goes Wraith on the inside. Thinks the opportunity, but no. Alonso keeping the pace and holds a position on right now, and it's a good stuff there. Now, here comes As, trying around the outside. Can't do a lot about it. Has to settle back, has to wait his turn. Alonso still leads them. RGB from us right now as well. These three drivers have problems and drama behind them because look who it is. It is Steve and it's Dennis. These two drivers have run over by, I believe, about 10 seconds. 12 seconds earlier on in this feature race. They could be doing it again today. Of course, they want to be careful, of course. They don't finish the race too early or too late. Because remember, trouble could happen here around the outside there. Alonso and Rafe battling together there. And look behind there, all of a sudden, here is Steve coming together as well as Alonso runs wide. And this is opportunity there as here comes VLX Steve Gamer now up the inside, down towards turn number 1. He's got a tow, and I think they're all going to go to the pit lane. Yes, they are then. So top 3 then in the pits. I think no, Ash stayed out then. So Ash stays out, but he's going to make the press up. Here comes Steve then round the outside into turn number 1. And we brave stuff, long way round, trying to get the cut back. Now hunt him down, round the outside, down towards turn number 2. Can he do it the long way around? He'll have to back off. Nowhere through that. Indeed, he does back through. Now he has the inside line, however, for the next corner, and Ass runs out wide then, so it looks like his tyres might be going off. And through there goes Steve Games into the lead of this race then. Ass in second, and Dennis in third, with a 2.4 second penalty nonetheless, so that's not going to be the best for him. Fogarty, meanwhile, down at 11th. Alonso battling away there still with Ducati and Rafe right now. So Ducati Rossi there, oh dear. And there was Ducati Rossi, and off the road he goes. Now, those two drivers, of course, are very close together. Alonso, of course, leading this race. RGB, Ducati Rossi came in earlier on, I believe, actually. So that explains why he's so far down. Still, like, we've got to imagine these top guys are all going to start coming in due course. 8 minutes to go, remember, so they could try and stretch to the end of this race. I think that might be CPT in. Yes, it is. So, in he comes then, and in the background you can see all these drivers battling together. There is Dennis and Nova. And already 1, 3, 4 and 5 VLX coming through then. You got to say, this team of drivers, this organisation I've not heard of before, coming to me and showing they mean business. And not only are they going to try and take one victory, they're going to try and take the spoils of a hat-trick of victories then. 1-2 and a 1-2. Meanwhile, look, Ass battling away at Dennis, and I think Dennis now trying to ruin Ass's dream of getting that podium right now. Oh, contact into the corner, and that was Nova. Running into the back of Ass there, and luckily to Ass does not damage that car, I don't think. But very fortunate stuff indeed if he hasn't. Still, look, Steve leads this race from Dennis right now, P2. Then comes Ass ahead of Nova. And Nova now trying to come through then on Ass. I think Ass's tyres going off now. And is he coming in the pit then? Yes, he is. So, Ass comes in. Quick stop. Get the fuel in, get the jacks up. Set him on his way. You want to be as quick as you can. Don't want any unnecessary hiccups then. In he comes. Down goes the jacks. Up they go. Tyres have come on. Then this needs to be quick. It needs to be crucial. He has to come out. He has to come out ahead of Ducati. He has to come out ahead of the rest of the field. He's coming out now then. Should be just behind a few drivers. He's down in 8th then. He's ahead of Ducati. That's crucial for him, because that is where he was earlier on. CPT then ahead of him. So, this comes out where he was a few moments ago, but crucially, ahead of Ducati right now. Now, what are these top 3 doing? It's an extraordinary drive, I must say, from all of them. 6 minutes to go. The tyre's going off nonetheless. But if they could stretch it, what I think they might do, you have a real opportunity of doing a 0 stop. However, I feel they may still yet to come in. And we'll find out, of course. Let's see if there's any of these top two coming in this lap. If they're going to do it, they have to do it soon enough, because remember, us and everyone else will be closing all the time. Leader stays out. Second stays out. Third stays with him. And Nova closing up on Dennis right now. And that there for the battle of P2 and 3. And I think already coming through up the inside. Here we go then. Side by side down towards turn number 1. Gets the inside line. And Dennis doesn't fight it too hard there. I think he knows he's in a different race. Of course, he doesn't want to hold him too much up right now. But it is a German leading the British. Leading the Italian. Britain in 4th then ahead of the Spanish, and then it's a Britain then as they're running 6th, 7th and 8th. Ducati in the pit then in 10th. Fogarty now up to 10th. There is in comes Ducati. So couldn't make it to the end then, so we must have had an issue or something we didn't see earlier on. 4 minutes to go. And Steve still leads. This is good for him right now. Can hold this pace for another 5 minutes. He'll be not on course for 1 victory today. He'll be on course for 2 for VLX. That is what he wants to do. This is what this team organisation wants to do. They want to come and prove they're the best. Well, so far they've got a massive opportunity to do so. They're not backed a 1, 2, 3 and 4. However, that 4th place definitely looking to be under threat. Behind him there you can see Alonso. He's on fresh tyres. He's going quick. Last lap for him there were 1:23.1. Pushing on there, and that compared to, of course, Chudi a 1:25.3. Leaders, and this is crucial, 1:24s. Of course, compared to Alonso as well, a 1:23. He's a second lap quicker. 13 seconds off the lead. 4 seconds off the car ahead. And he's doing about 2 and a bit seconds a lap quicker. Meaning he will have about 2 laps to pass. And let's see if he can chase after Dennis in P3 right now. It'll be very audacious stuff to try it. But if he's got the pace, he can try. He may be 12 seconds off the lead. But it was about 14 before this lap begun. Now it's down to 12. He's taken 2 seconds off. Might be a little bit too late, of course. But those tyres will be going. And don't forget, of course, Alonso's tyres also is going. So they've got to be careful. They've got to manage them. Talk about management. These 2 drivers, these top 3 drivers, 4 drivers, all got to be careful. They don't do that. They don't lose their rear. They don't want to compromise their tyres. They know right now. They're confirming a zero-stop strategy. And here Alonso. Catching all the time. Behind them, RGB Rafe right now. His last lap as well. A 1:22. He's even quicker than Alonso. He's pushing on harder. These drivers flying around this circuit right now with 2 minutes and 30 seconds to go. But yet Steve still leads by 2 seconds. Now, if I was this team, I would start to hold position. Don't battle each other. And I think that's what they might be doing. I think they might now understand that there could be a real chance that they're going to win this. Potentially a 1-2, maybe a 1-2-3. Just if they do not cost each other time, they don't battle. They just keep each other on check, keep each other on the island. And they'll be all course for victory here. But Alonso catching. He's charging right now with some 1 minute to 50 seconds to go. He's got that gap down to 1.7. Now to Chudi. You might just be able to see the car of the road, the VLX car. Yes, you can. There you can see him. And the gap starts to close. This is a good chance there from Alonso. Oh, I want to be careful. I hope he doesn't do that and he loses the rear. My goodness. And like I said, he wants to be careful. Don't cost your tyres too much pain. It's imperative you get the best tyres and the best opportunity. And then you can attack. Because behind, if you don't battle now, you're going to drop behind. Because Rafe as well battling. This could be a blessing in disguise. For VLX, we should have 1 lap to go after this one. We should be on the final lap then for your leaders at least. Meaning Alonso, he's going to have to make the move. He's going to have to make it soon. Because remember, when that timer counts down, it won't count down just for the leaders, it'll count down for everyone. So if you cross the line, your race is finished. And there you can see the gap closing. Now down to 8 tenths. 40 seconds to go. Are we going to run out of time here? Are we going to get one more lap out of it? That is the question. They come down to the hairpin then. I think we might just get one last lap out of it there. Again, a big switch then from Alonso. He's pushing on. He's pushing hard. 20 seconds to go. Are they going to make it? Will they have one chance to battle? I think it's going to be do or die then. 13 seconds. I don't think they're going to do it. Leaders start their last lap then here in Fuji. Dennis, he's going to finish the race and he'll finish on the podium. I don't think Alonso's got enough time. They're going to go to it. They're down to the line then. Who's it going to be? Dennis third. Judy fourth. Alonso fifth then. So they don't get one more lap out of it then on the telemetry. I think unless they're still battling together, but I think they may have backed off it then. Indeed they have. But awfully close there between those three drivers. And now we wait for the leaders. So, VLX then, third and fourth. But which one of them is going to win this race? They're coming down to the hairpin then for the final time here today. They took victory in the feature. And they look to set victory in the sprint. One more sector to go then. Into the right, into the left, into the right for the last time. Steve Gaming and Noah. Could you imagine this just a few hours ago? The team, of course, which have taken victory in a feature. They've taken victory in the sprint. Not that, a 1, 2 and 3. Are they going to make it a fourth? Then, here comes Steve then to take victory. Here in Fuji. Nova in second. Dennis in third and Judy in fourth. So it is a VLX 1 to VLX 2 and 3. And not only that, they've got the top 4. They've got the whole podium to themselves. And they're going to be a very happy team indeed. Alonso tried his best, couldn't do it in the end. 5th. And there you can see then, Rafe in 6th, As 7th, and TPT in 8th. But Steve, crucially, 2 victories out of 2, 11 positions up. An absolutely beautiful drive for him throughout the race. And that there proves to me how strong VLX will be this season. A strong sharing from all of the drivers. But until next week, when we come back, of course, in Spain at the Circuit de Catalunya de Barcelona, we shall see you then. Until next week, I have been Evil Dragon, and we will see you soon. Goodbye.